Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
You know, following the incident with that aeroplane that lost its door, some of them folks had things to say on the microphone. And again, that's why they should really increase the price of podcast microphones, because not everybody is educated enough to be able to come out here and have an opinion. Some of these people are lightweight intellectuals, and they spew their own racial biases out here. Tell me why I'm scrolling through TikTok and I see two white dudes talking about how if they enter into an aeroplane and the pilot is black, they say, "Whew, I hope he is qualified." What do you mean?
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now thinking about that.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the
you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
Hello there, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of our conversations. My name is Ondiro Oganga. I'm a business journalist by profession and a digital content creator. And I love coming on here and having conversations with you guys about Black people, Africans, our empowerment, and how we can rise up and take our rightful place at the global stage. So there has been this raging debate, both on TikTok and on Twitter, about the role of Black people in corporate America and how they are treated based off of their merit, right? But vis-a-vis the color of their skin. We all remember the incident where that airplane just lost its door while it was still in the skies, and it is just miracle and amazing skill set and experience that they were able to land safely and everybody got out of the plane safe and sound. Yeah, we could have left it there. We could have congratulated the pilots. We could have said, good job, guys, for ensuring you landed the plane. Fantastic job. Compliment their skill set. You know, ask the airline to increase their bonus or pay them more money. You know, ask them to do TED Talks of how they were able to go through this situation in a very calm manner and ensure that none of the passengers, there was some form of anxiety, but they went a long way in ensuring that everybody was calm to the best of their ability, right? We could have done that. We actually could have done that. We could have gone ahead and held the airline responsible. We could have held the manufacturers of the plane responsible. We could have done that. We did not stop there. Do you know where we took it? To the race debate. We took it to the race debate. We took it to the race debate. And this is not the first time. There was also a time a lady posted and said she got into this plane and the moment she's not even sat down, she sees the pilot being escorted out in handcuffs. We could have just held the pilot responsible. Could have held the pilot responsible, could have held the airline responsible, could have held the governing bodies responsible. We didn't stop there. We made it an issue about race. Now, my issue is, it's not even about that black man down the jet. It's not that black man showed up at work drunk. No, there's no form of accountability or responsibility being placed on Black people. It's just a blanket race statement where they say, if I see a black person flying a plane, I think to myself, I hope he is qualified. How low do you think of Black people? No, seriously, 400 years later after slavery, how low do you think of Black people? It's been 400 years. So much work has been done. Not by you, of course. You've benefited from a white supremacy system, but from Black people to change their narrative, to change who they are. They went from picking cotton in cotton fields, and now they're in boardrooms, they're CEOs, they're doctors, they're engineers, they're artists, they're brilliant. They've allowed you to share in their Black talent and greatness, yet what you see is skin color? Isn't that problematic? Doesn't that say a lot about you more than it says about the Black pilot that you're thinking they better be qualified? Of course they're qualified. The airline that is owned by white people, the planes that are manufactured by white people, trusted the Black man enough to fly it. So what is it? If it just doesn't go to show how racially biased you are, how then do you explain it? No, seriously, how then do you explain that you have a problem with a pilot being Black? Or you have, and I've heard these stories so many times of even patients who say, oh, I can't be touched by a Black doctor. Or they even just assume that when you're Black, you're not the doctor, you're, just one of the hospital staff. And they'll ask you to call the doctor for them. And then when they realize you're the doctor, they just refuse. And they'll deliberately ask to wait for another doctor who might not be on that rotation. And they'll be writhing in pain in that bed, but they'll not allow a Black person to touch them. It's just mind-boggling. But I saw the best response from a Black person who said, if you see a Black person anywhere, it's by merit. Because people of color are meant to jump through 1,000,001 hoops to prove that they're qualified. So if I were you and I saw a Black doctor or a Black pilot, I'd be overjoyed. Because I know this person is so good at their jobs because of all the bureaucratic hoops that we made them jump through in the name of ensuring they're effective, efficient, and highly qualified. And guess what? They passed all of them on top of all the certifications that they have to do just to have their profession. They're made to prove again that they know exactly what it is they're doing. So if you see a Black person, that's when you know you're safe because of how rigorous the system is with Black people. But then again, you're blinded by racial cataracts. How can you see that?
United Airlines is hiring the most qualified people. And therefore, I believe every pilot that go in there must be the most qualified. If I saw a Black, if I saw a white, if I saw a woman, if I saw a trans, they're qualified. But when they come out on TV and say qualification isn't the number one priority, it's diversity. So then you have to ask the question, me and the team was talking about this. Well, what were they doing before they're starting to implement diversity? Were they hiring the best? If they were hiring the best, then that means diversity wasn't hiring the best. It's not hiring the best because they would have diversity if they were hiring the best. So let me play this clip for you, and it's still more that I want to say to slap this guy over the head.
You knew this. There's not a Black person in this country that didn't already know that there were white people in this country who have the same opinions of the 4 white guys on that panel. I went to grade school in New Orleans, Louisiana in the 80s, and even back then, our Black teachers, coaches, vice principals, and principals always told us that we had to work harder because there are people out there who will always think that you got something because you were Black.
Nobody thinks that. It's called affirmative action. So when there's a concept of affirmative action, then people begin to believe that you are the affirmative action hire. It's the same thing that happened with Joe Biden and the Supreme Court Justice, I forget her name now, Ketanji Brown Jackson. The man should have just said, I'm hiring the best woman, or not even woman, I'm hiring the best candidate that I could find. We're going to do a rigorous search. We're going to look at background search. Referrals are going to be intense. This is going to be the most qualified Supreme Court justice we have ever appointed in American history. And in your mind, you can just pick a Black woman. But you don't do that. You say, I'm going to pick a Black woman. But what if the Black man is more qualified than the Black woman? And you got to pick it because you said you're going to pick a woman. That's why people are telling you they're creating victimhood on two ends. The reason people are stupid enough to tell young Black men you got to work harder than white people, one reason is because they believe that you're a victim. They don't believe that you're equal. They don't believe that you are smart enough. They don't believe it. So they project it on you, and then you think you're not smart enough because you got to work extra hard. And you begin to question scenarios that you should never question because people ain't thinking like that. And I'll get to the other one in a second. Let me let him finish.
So we've always known that we've had to outwork everyone just to get half the respect.
Hold on. Do you have to outwork other Black people, though? No. Do you have to outwork other black people? These people create these scenarios as if the workforce is nothing but white folks, and you got to compete against white people. But what if it's 5 black dudes working for the job? Y'all all get an even shot, right? No, you don't have to work twice as hard as the other black people applying, do you? Oh, okay. Come on, bro. You crazy. If you live in Atlanta, where it's nothing but black people, in businesses where there's nothing but black people working there, nothing but black people in the hiring process, do you still have to work twice as hard as white people? Come on, bro. It's crazy.
I was in college in the 90s. During that time, I was on the track and field team. And myself and a lot of my black teammates would talk about this way back then. We would always talk about how we had to carry ourselves in public, in school, and in interviews just to get an inkling of the respect that we would get if we were white.
So there is a video of, Lord help me, of Charlie Kirk on his little podcast with some other people on his podcast. And he says that if he were on a plane and he saw that the pilot was black, his first thought would be, God, I hope he's qualified. And then he proceeds to say how that statement is not him and that's not how he thinks. And the other people that were there with him on his little podcast were saying, yeah, I mean, that mindset is totally been pushed on us because of the left and because of DEI and, because things are being given to people because of race and not because of merit. Here's my question for people like Charlie Kirk. Is there no scenario in your mind, given the history of this country, where maybe the reason why you have never seen a black pilot before is because people in hiring positions abused their authority and didn't hire people of color because they were, racist? Which is kind of why DEI was needed in the first place and mandated in some industries, because people were abusing their authority and simply not hiring people because they had biases and prejudice against them and were just blatantly racist. Like, I don't want to hire a black person. I don't want to hire a Latina person. I don't want to hire an Asian person. It's just, why is that never part of the conversation with these people?
Well, dear folks, let me know what you think. Have you experienced something like this? Have you experienced that bias where just because of the nature and the color of your skin, people assume that you're not qualified? And if they realize that, yeah, you're actually qualified, they find ways of questioning your qualification just based off of your skin color. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time.